Welcome back to another Alliance War video. We have 4 Loki versus HC Armageddon. I got a couple buddies over in this alliance. So again, always good when we go up against someone with some friends in there, but it sucks that someone does have to lose. They banned Ghost, Absman, and Kingpin. I am taking X, White Magneto, and Omega Sentinel. When we first started looking at the map, there was a Kindred boss, and before the season, obviously Kindred was new. Did some testing on what works, what wasn't. Obviously, you guys have seen Hulk smash away a bunch of fights this season, but Kindred you don't ramp him up when you use a non-contact attacker, and Professor X is that. So the thought process is to basically use X and get to an SP3 spam and win. Pretty easy enough, but it's a little bit more, there's more to it than that. But just burning some energy here, and then we're going to take a look at the map. They planned the Absman ban, quite well according to the map. So we'll be going up 2 and then up 6 right there using Omega Sentinel. I'm checking the Spidey to see how much health he has, because I'll have 3 charges at that Spidey, and then I'm just looking to see what rank. This is a rank 2 Storm Pyramid X, and I think this is a rank 4 OG Storm, and I'll be taking that Sassy. That's why I'm checking him out. It's a rank 2, and I'll be taking that Mordo as well. So have quite a few fights, lane fights, few shared, and some minis and the boss. This boss is rank 5. So let's get to the first fight. First up, I have this spot, and this node basically has limber. Each time you parry, it shortens the amount. And so I'm using I'm going with the 8% 150% because I want to get some of my fights before the boss, and I was dueling a bunch before Kindred. I want to make sure I had the right strategy. And I have max recoil on because I'm an SP3 spam, but I'm running bleed as well. I was going to run it for my fights before Kindred just for more damage, but after this fight I lose quite a bit of health, and it's from chip damage because I'm trying to bait a heavy here. I'm using a power start 1, and I'm basically just trying to get fully ramped up. And what I should have done here is just use my falter, but here I see it, and I'm just heavy charging, and he does this crazy spot thing. He does that when you charge a heavy. So at this point I'm like, okay, he's at 1 bar and he throws a special 1. I'm just going to counter it and put his spots on cooldown, and then at this point I'm just okay, cool, just basically I can parry once actually here and go red. But he throws this, and it's just more chip damage, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm looking at this fight, it's over. There's nothing wrong with it here. But I just took 21% damage, and it's mainly because of that bleed, because I'm boosted. I have max coagulate and stuff, but it's just, I take it off after this. I take it off after my next few fights, because I do leave it on for my mutant fights, because Omega Sentinel doesn't take any bleed damage. But this fight is basically over. This is a spot and lane fight. I've taken plenty of spot bosses, so this is not worried about this. This is just an X ramp, basically. With Omega Sentinel, this will give me an extra persistent charge, so I'll be at 3 by the time I take Symbiote Spidey, which is a low health pool champion. So that shouldn't be a problem, especially on a Fury node. So next up, I'm going to path 6 with 2 Tactic Defenders, OG Storm and Storm Pyramid X. And the plan basically is to just keep her prowess off, block specials since they're not going to hurt, and throw my SP3, then keep it paused. That's basically it. So shouldn't be too bad, but obviously anything can happen in war, so I just got to be prepared. I noticed in this fight that my power start 1 is active, which I was like, oh, cool, I can get to my SP3 sooner. You see that, she hits plenty hard with, especially with recoil on. So I just blocked that. She gets a prowess, but I remove it with because Omega Sentinel is a global attacker. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to get to my SP3. I should have done a light ending combo there to pause my Incinerates. So I messed that up. I just noticed that. But basically what's going to happen here is as long as you don't have any Incinerates on the opponent, you're going to land 6 big Incinerates. You see they're ticking for like 3,400 per tick, which is about 6k per second. So I just take this on the block, and she's paused, and I'm like, you know what? I really don't care to do anything. She's just going to die from the Incinerate damage. So that went really well. The next node, that node, the more prowess you have, their specials are unblockable, so there's really nothing to worry about. But this node has a Disorient. Now, Omega Sentinel can have her ability accuracy reduced versus mutants, so I'll be able to parry as much as I want, but what I don't want is to take chip damage. The Disorient will still lower my ability to take chip damage, and I'll take more of it. So I'm using a combat regen, kind of a waste, but I have one in overflow because Omega Sentinel is still going to regen on her own because she's not coming in at 100%, so she's going to regen percentage of missing health. So I have 2 regens going here, and the plan basically is to just combo to an SP3, and I parry there, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. Just got to bait this, and the parry may fall off, and I'll be fine. I just don't want to take any chip damage. You know, looking back on this was my only. I removed the prowess, so I hit her there. This was my last Omega Sentinel fight, so I really shouldn't even care if I do take chip damage and she ends it at 40%. But here, basically, I want her to throw her SB1, and ideally, I can pause the before my SP3. So I'm burning her every time I hit her because I have 10 armor ups. I take this full combo, and I'm just playing it really safe at this point. I don't want to mess up a very simple fight. I have other fights that are a lot more dangerous, so to speak. So here I end with a light. She gains a prowess, but the special will remove it, and I'm going to come out with Incinerates on her. So the special does pretty good damage. I'm running max recoil, but the SP3 does no damage there. And this one's ticking for 1.9k. Not too sure why it's ticking for less, to be honest with you. Maybe there's something to do with Storm Pyramid X's abilities, or maybe she has energy resistance. But either way, she's just dying. That's like 4k a second. So pretty straightforward fight. The next fight, I have a Symbiote Spidey, and I'm taking to a Professor X, and I'm dropping a White Magneto pre-fight. So the plan here basically is to parry heavy and power start 1. I'm using a lot of Gray Boost this war. I'm going to power start 1, and I'm going to make sure I get over at least 25 charges if I have to medium. But if I don't, I won't. I'm just going to basically parry heavy, ramp up, and then bait SB1s from him and take them on the block if I have not triggered Dex. At this point, you know, we are winning, but you know, any little thing can happen, and wars, you know, shift drastically from one moment to the next. So there's Mighty Charge here, so the White Magneto pre-fight allows me to parry without him shrugging the stun. There's an armor break node that'll heal me actually if I don't hit him, you know, in time with willpower, so that helps. And it's ebb and flow intercept. So basically, the plan is to get to 100, and if I can line up a heavy intercept with the protection going down right, then I will. If it's taking too long, so right here through that SB1 quickly, I know I'm going to be at charge. I dex right there, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm at 100. If he throws a special and he does perfect, I take it on the block. And now I can heavy charge, and they've been doing this when they just wait, but I get the heavy charge and the fight's over. Like I hold that heavy and they're just like pausing. So Lags is actually behind me, and he has a Mr. Reed that was going to go for the boss, but Mr. Reed has 4 pre-fights. So I asked him to drop 2 on Sassy, the Petrify and Suppression, because I'll have a White Magneto pre-fight, and if I have those, it'll limit the power that he gains when I heavy him, and then if I dex, it'll limit the Petrify will also limit the MD power gain. So in the Sassy fight on 48, you power start 1 with X, and the whole goal is to get to 3 bars of power and 100 charges ASAP. Lags finally dropped the pre-fights here for me, so I was able to go in. And so yeah, you don't want him going into Wrath before you're fully at 3 bars or 100 charges, because then he's gonna throw special after special after special. So it'll be a huge mess. Now if he did that and I'm at least over 75 and at 3 bars or close to 3 bars, I'm going to beta heavy, wait for his unstoppable to slightly fall off, and then do a light ending combo to trigger my mind control manually and get out of it. But this fight is lame. Like right here, see that's a lag in the game, and right at the beginning I'm like, oh no, I started freaking out, and then I miss a parry because of it, or just because I miss a parry, and I'm like, I need to get this under control. I noticed that I have quite a bit of power from that combo I ate. I'm like, okay, I know he's faltered here, so I can heavy, and I'm like, okay, at this point, just get to 100 charges. That's it. Just need to get to 100 charges. I don't need to worry about baiting anything. And here I'm at 99. I'm like, oh my god, I want to just get to 100. If he goes into Wrath here, then it's like come on. But he throws a heavy, so I decide to heavy charge into my SB3, and that's all she wrote for this Sassy. And I shared this lag spike, and of course Karate Mike is going to say, awesome gameplay, really smart getting hit to gain power faster. Gotta love the guys. I'm in pain. You know, this is obviously I won, but it's costing potions. But it's just frustrating. But I did have a plan for the Kindred fight, and because Karate Mike said that, I altered my plan slightly. And we'll get to that, because my plan for the Kindred fight was basically not to just beta heavy, because the more he hits into me, the more charges he gets, the more he ramps up for his nightmare. So I was like, okay, bait 1 heavy, and then use my hit into his block or hit into him to get him in his corner. I was going to live with the fact that he was going to get his nightmare charges, and as long as he's in his corner, I can be around 100 charges and an SB3, or just wait it out and I have enough room to dance on the map. So that was the plan. I changed it slightly though. So this is a Mordo on 51 with Conflictor. So at this point I'm not using a Power Start 1. I popped an invulnerability boost here because like it has the prowess puncture. So if I happen to do a combo and he gets prowess, I don't want Mordo's SB3 doesn't hit hard. But with the prowess on the node, it may. And I have an SB3 boost on and an invulnerability boost. So the plan is to parry medium heavy, parry medium heavy. That way I alternate my hits. But he does hold heavy. It's Mordo. So I knew that I was going to have to heavy him to break it. And here he does a heavy. So I just do a medium, light, medium. And then I do a heavy to alternate it. And I'm like, okay. Then he starts holding heavy, and I'm like, all right, got to get him to his corner. I'm gonna throw this heavy. He gets that prowess puncture, right? And I'm like, okay. And I want him to heavy. I want him to come at me, but he's not. He's being really passive. And then he throws this, or he gets his power gain, so he's in the corner, and I heavy charge there. And I'm like, okay. And I just take that on the block, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, I dash away, and boom, I get another heavy. And I get one more heavy, and I'm like, okay. I bait this, and I'm like, all right, I just need to get to an SB3. Perfectly fine. He's about to get his power gain, and I hit into his block, and of course he throws the freaking SB1. And I'm like, man. And I want to parry him to heavy charge, because if he's blocking, he has massive energy resistance. So I want my special to hit as hard as possible. So I wait to do that. Now, this fight is essentially over. I'm just going to wait for the animation to happen. But back to the Kindred. So with Kindred, my plan was basically get him in his corner, and then you know, beta heavy, and then heavy counter, and then if he's at an SB1 and the spacing is correct, then pause it. But really just live with the fact that he's going to get his nightmare, and then after the nightmare, I'm golden. I have enough power and everything to get to an SB3. But because I have a horseman, and because Karate Mike said that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bait that heavy and just charge heavy and get hit with the heavy to give me more power, and I'll still get the ramp up, and then I can push him into the corner and do that. It'll just give me a little bit. It's like a power start 1 and a half, basically, right? And I have the pre-fights, all sorts of pre-fights here as I go into this fight. So you see this, I use the Horseman to go unstoppable, and boom, I get hit, and I'm almost at 2 bars. And right here I heavy charge. I'm like, okay, perfect. I get two heavy charges, and I get another one right here. So I'm at 50. He backs off, and this is what I wanted. See, when I hit into his block, it doesn't give him any more charges than the regular timer. He throws his SB1. I counter it to block him. I don't hit him anymore, so I don't feed him any power. I use my falter here to get a long heavy ramp, and now I just need to get to an SB3. He throws his heavy, and I back off, and that's it. That is it. So went rather smoothly. I did a bunch of duels for this fight, different strategies that I tried, and ultimately it went rather well. So like I said, we were thinking about sending Hulk to it. I think Hulk can actually smash this fight as well, but you definitely have to play around with degen. With this, it's like you're just spamming this SB3. It's doing about 180k per special, so I'm definitely getting enough power back. And you know, Nightmare Outbreak has started, but it's not doing anything to my health. And at this point, you know, this would kill him, but he's gonna trigger his mechanic, you know, that saves him. And he makes a joke right there. Oh, you think I've won? Well, yeah, I do think I've won. I'm rooted, and I'm going to throw this special right into your face, and you're going to die. So, you know, big, bad, scary Kindred boss, you know, goes down relatively smoothly. Obviously, good AI play is always appreciated, and I'm thankful that I did not get any lag spikes. But a minute 39 for a boss solo, I'm definitely happy with that. So yeah, I'm just throwing some, you know, a shout out to Karate Mike here, because, you know, he made fun of me, but I think it ultimately made my fight a little easier, because I wasn't getting the enough power in my duels for the you know, to get to my SB3 spam before the outbreak started. But ultimately that went well, and then we see, you know, some of the guys are right in here, so I jump back in there, and, you know, the bugs aren't as scary. But Andrew said, you know, see right here, he says that he doesn't want me to use X anymore, but then, you know, obviously he wanted me to X the boss. So I'm not sure if he likes the SB3 spam or if he doesn't, but when it came down to a Kindred boss, he liked it. But then he comes back and he says that this is the last we're going to see of Professor X. So I don't know. But shout out to BG3 with another donut. Really proud of the guys. They're absolutely smashing all their fights. So you know, congrats to them. And let's take a look at the final stats. And we were able to pull out the victory. Shout out to Karate Mike, Mad Cat, and Mastermind, the MVPs. And we will see you guys in the next one.